Last time on Shadow Piece, Boo released one final powerful attack, the Emperor's Fire Fist. The strongest flame he ever created, he completely burned the Pegasus Stronger into ashes. And for a moment, he thought the same had happened to the Titanic captain, Doc Q. However, the horrifying Doctor managed to survive, his appearance being hideously burned being the only consequence of this attack. Using the moment of carelessness, Doc Q rammed his lance of sickness through the upper body of Boo, creating a massive hole in it. This huge hole was already a death sentence, but the Blackbeard pirate was a heinous criminal that wanted to torture his enemy even more. He wanted to thrust his disgusting lance through the head of the fallen warrior, but got pushed back with a kick before he could do so. This was a war. Death was natural, and yet no one could fault him for reacting like this. Don Sai, Sin of Wrath, but most importantly right now, the older brother of the late Boo. He just stood in front of the person that was with him his entire life. The polearm that usually was hot was now as cold as ice, just waiting for the heat of revenge to ignite it and burn down the villain in front of him. Doc Q just laughed at the situation. Ever since he first became a doctor, he loved this moment the most. The moment when people learned about the death of their loved ones. He gained more pleasure out of others' mental pain than from anything else in this world. He had created plagues and faked attempting to heal them just to get to experience that feeling over and over again. One thing was clear, he really was scum, and he knew it himself as well, but as he found out from experimenting on his abusive parents still in his childhood, there simply was no cure for being an asshole. He killed and killed and killed, invented new diseases just to see people struggle in different ways. Fast deaths, slow and horrible deaths, states in which a person was alive but basically dead. Doc Q had seen every version of death there was on this planet, so when one day Blackbeard arrived and promised him that he would be able to discover even more death if he were to join him, he was overjoyed. His captain acquired the sick fruit for him, and now this pirate doctor could create even more new diseases to torture people with. He wasn't loyal to Blackbeard until he tried to one day kill him, and also his right-hand man Jesus Burgess. Without any sign, Doc Q unleashed a lethal disease on the two, to see how they would suffer, but Teach, he didn't even show any signs of being affected. It was like he was a being above mortal sicknesses, something Doc Q couldn't even think about touching. At least Burgess spat out blood and suffered for a while, but the lethal illness was also defeated by the wrestler in a matter of hours. These two pirates truly were monsters, and Doc Q swore loyalty to them when he witnessed them not caring or overcoming his most dangerous disease. To this day, he didn't understand how it was possible, and as a researcher, he still tried to figure it out, but it just seemed like a mystery without an answer the longer he looked into it. The Blackbeard Pirates were a group of horrible criminals, but that also meant nobody would care about what Doc Q did. It was the perfect environment for a sane but absolutely evil doctor. Right now, in the present day, he saw Sai, the Sin of Wrath, standing in front of him, furious at the events that just occurred. Doro. Is somebody mad about losing their subordinate? Doro. Haunting someone was a classic bad guy thing to do, but Sai didn't care about staying calm and collected anymore. He was not my subordinate! Sai yelled at his opponent. The ferocity in his voice was both aggression and pain. Ooh, was my brother, my best friend that was with me together since forever! Doc Q couldn't care less about the emotional connections the brother had, but he enjoyed seeing Sai in anguish at his brother's death. Oh, boo, Doro. His death only amounted to my pathetic horse, and let me tell you something, I can get a new one with ease. I guess you can't just get a new brother, right? The mocking reached a level that went too far, and Sai's rage reached new heights he had never experienced before. He wanted to scream, he wanted to release his anger verbally, but he held back, instead channeling it all as extra strength for his next attacks. But first, the Titanic captain unleashed more of his sicknesses to mess with his opponents. The battlefield reeked of ash and agony. Smoke curled through the air like specters of fallen warriors. And in the heart of the chaos stood Sai, trembling, not from fear, but from something far more insidious. Across him, perched like a vulture upon the twisted remains of the crumbled surroundings, Doc Q sneered through the veil of sickness and decay that seemed to radiate from his very soul. With a raspy whisper that echoed through the ether, he murmured, "Sleep now, Sin of Wrath, and let the rot reveal your truth." A pulse of dark green miasma bursted forth from his burned hands, rippling across the ground like a disease-turned animal. The moment it touched Sai's skin, his pupils dilated, his limbs faltered, and the world in front of him seemed to crumble into pieces. He was no longer in battle. Suddenly, he was in his home, in the quiet courtyard where cherry blossoms once bloomed. But something was wrong. From the veranda, Baby Five stood with her arms crossed, her eyes sharp as the weapons she could turn into. "You've always been pathetic, Sai," she spat. "I only stayed with you because no one else would have wanted me, but maybe being alone would be better than being with you." Sai's heart cracked. From behind her, Boo laughed bitterly. "You think you're a leader? You've done nothing but write our family's name. I never once considered you my brother, not a singular time." The words struck like a dagger deep into Sai's heart. He turned away from his brother and wife, only to see his grandfather, Xinjiao, shaking his head with a sneer. "You are a failure to our bloodline. I should have disowned you when you first picked up a polearm." Sai fell onto his knees, gripping his head as the voices grew louder, distorted, echoing, relentless. They overlapped in a chorus of betrayal, a storm of hatred. It crushed him, broke him. Then something flashed before his eyes, a gigantic fiery fist, and the words of his brother, "Emperor's Fire Fist!" Then, Boo's Fane twisted in pain, his final moments standing tall even as Doc Q's green lance pierced his chest. The fire still burned around him, slowly flickering out as his life came to an end. The memory roared through Sai's mind like a thunderclap. Would never say these things. Baby Five's tears on their wedding night, and then again when they learned she was pregnant. Boo's words of brotherly love when I protected him in childhood, and Xinjiao's pride when I surpassed him. Whatever I just saw, they were all lies. All of it! Poison conjured by a decaying coward. The illusion shattered as soon as Sai realized his situation. His eyes snapped open, bloodshot, furious, filled with wrath. Doc Q staggered slightly, as if feeling a shift in the air. The miasma around Sai crackled like glass under pressure, and then erupted in a surge of fire. The sin of wrath rose, dragging his battered body to its feet. Tears and sweat streaking down his dirt-covered face. His voice trembled with rage. "You killed my brother, tried to defile the memories of my family, but things end here now." He slammed his weapon into the ground, and the earth beneath him trembled. "You'll witness the fury of a heart that will never break." Golden fire erupted from his polearm, violent, divine. The clouds twisted, lightning cracked across the sky. Sai took one step forward, then another. "Prepare yourself, Doc Q." The Sin of Wrath's aura blazed like a dying star, about to explode. But for now, this is the end of today's episode of Shadow Piece. I hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to more. Now, next episode, the climax of this battle is going to appear. Who will come out victorious? Is it Sai, who is now filled with wrath? Or is it Doc Q, who still maybe has some tricks up his sleeve? But for now, all's left to be said from me for today is stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay cultured. Pyro, out. Bye!